presentation of TFNN. The Tom O'Brien Show is produced every business day. Tom takes your phone calls toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Let's go to Ben in San Jose. Ben, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Tom, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, man. Yourself?
I just wanted to thank you and your team and everything. I've been using your technique with the 10-minute charts, watching the VIX, and just making a fortune here on the futures.
Isn't it interesting? That's awesome, man.
It's wonderful. Thanks, Tom. I appreciate it.
Okay, man. Have a great one. Have a safe one.
Now, Tom O'Brien.
What's going on, everybody? This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. Hope you all have had a fantastic day so far. It's a little bit rainy here, a little bit cloudy. Not getting the temperature dump that we were hoping for, but that's all right. Take a look. Right now, you have a green day to the upside, okay? Well, I'm looking at Palantir right now. You're up nearly 6% at 89.40. And, not on an insane amount of volume, but we still have about an hour left. Okay, it's not too bad. The SPY itself trading up about 1.32%, like Pavlov now over the past few sessions. You have the SPY trading up 1.32% at 584.58, with the composite up about 1.66% at 18,588. Dow Jones Industrial trading up about 1.41% at 43,121, with the Russell futures up about 1.04% at 2,104. You got that dollar getting even weaker. You had Basil filling in for Tommy today. He was joined by Teddy Keckstadt. Teddy, of course, has the Tiger Forex Report newsletter on TFNN. Strongly recommend checking out that segment that they had. He goes a little bit into the implications of the dollar moving lower right now. You're off about 1.27%. Crude oil off about 2.71% at 66.38. Let's see what else we got cracking. Yeah, the gold contract still moving higher. Okay, you're 0.32% at 2,929. You had a little bit of a sell-off, but right back to reversing up to the highs. That is of 2,974. Copper roaring today, up 5.59%, with silver roaring as well, up 2.73. Let's see what else we got going on. I'm curious if the banks recovered from yesterday. Not really. You're not going lower, but you're staying right in that area. I wonder if the tariffs have something to do with that. Any kind of consideration that you might have interest rates decreasing sometime this year. Quite an issue for them. Tesla's up 2.21%. Excuse me. This is on not a lot of volume either. Very, very still bearish on Tesla. I've been seeing a lot of this stuff with discussing the robots, okay? And it seems like what the market is talking about now, and really the companies themselves, you got a few ways this can go. The two major ones are going to be in robotics and in IoT. In quantum. That seems what a lot of these big companies, and I'm talking really like Magnificent 70 of Amazon coming out with their new quantum chip. Of course, Microsoft is talking about that very heavily. You have Apple talking about getting into robotics. You have Tesla talking about getting into Optimus. I don't. For some reason, for me, and I love, sci-fi tech, right? If we could have a bunch of robots working everywhere and we could be freed up to do different things as humans, I think that'd be very neat. I don't necessarily see what the sale point is for the common person with buying these. Do things around the house, okay? What are the price points of these things? Are they going to be effective in doing it? What's the time to them being effective? I'm just dubious on the whole situation. It seems like another thing to kind of float their equity prices. You have Tesla. That really was what Tesla was trying to do with that, right? And you had bad numbers in their last quarterly. And they say, hey, don't worry though, by 2030, we're gonna have 10 trillion in revenue from Optimus. I don't know. You want to talk about automating certain processes in the economy. We've been doing that for a while. Of course, Amazon's looking to automate their warehouses. You have Rockwell Automation, old school player, up 2.42%. Man, wow. Oh, that just gave everything back. That maybe warrants a deeper look because they had pretty solid financials. They've been firing a lot of people, which has been helping them cut costs. That's really the mode that Rockwell Automation is in right now, is essentially cutting costs. They purchased something in 2023 called Otto, O-T-T-O. And this guy basically lifts pallets in, give me a second, let's see if I can pull this up. Pallets in factories or warehouses, rather. Otto Motors. Check this out, if this is something interesting to you. I think it can lift quite a bit. And I do believe that automation of warehouses, automation of factories has already been going on for quite a while. Does something like building anthropomorphic robots, solve some of the finer problems that they have there, meaning, like kind of fine motor skills? I don't think that's necessary. Again, I think I'm just having an issue seeing the buy point for some of those things. I'm also of the camp as well. Rockwell's interesting. We can talk some more about them. But one name that I'm seeing pop up all the time recently is Rich Tech Robotics. It's up 2.74%. Obviously, you're at a penny stock. You're at 126 million market cap. These guys are doing it's called the maitre d'. Okay, so it's busing and delivering food. I know this has an appeal in some of the East Asian countries. China, they're big on this. Japan, they're big on this. Seems like Rich Tech does have some exposure in China, which is good. Do Americans, do Western Europeans, do North Americans want this kind of stuff? I'm not sure. I think that stuff's kind of weird to people here, I think people here like having human interaction with their food, and I know some people are probably laughing at that. But when McDonald's came out with their touchscreen ordering, people really disliked that. And I know it still exists in some places, but the rollout wasn't as large as I think that McDonald's anticipated. I don't think people want to necessarily deal with that. Now, I think the theory that exists there is people are okay with ordering online and door dashing and all that's kind of automated. So what do they care? And maybe that is, something you could argue. But I do think going out to restaurants, this would maybe turn some people off. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of research kind of going into that, at least currently, meaning, how comfortable some people would be. You do have a paper, like an article from SoftBank that says there is a larger scale adoption in restaurants. It seems somewhat interesting. Of course, primary concern is going to be like CapEx and operation expense. I don't know if they have, honestly, some kind of, bias with this, if they're invested in some companies like that. I just personally think when people go to a restaurant, they don't want a robot serving them, making their coffee. I think it's seen more as a novelty for us here than kind of part of the fabric as you see in places like China and Japan. So folks, stay right there. I'll be right back after this break.
If you spend any time online researching trading techniques on how to begin your trading journey, you've no doubt come across many folks who push Forex trading as a way to make big money quickly. Unfortunately, there are equally as many stories of these so-called Forex professionals just looking to make a quick buck off aspiring traders without actually teaching the ins and outs of the Forex market. This is what sets Teddy Keckstack's The Tiger Forex Report off the riffraff. Every Monday, former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member and author Teddy Keckstack releases his Tiger Forex Report newsletter, where he dives into the complex world of Forex and takes time to actually teach you his methods that have made him so successful in the fast-paced and rewarding world of Forex trading. Furthermore, all subscribers receive access to archived live streams of Teddy's, where he provides university-level education to help you in Forex trading. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Forex awaits.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter, a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Are you ready to take charge of your financial future? TFNN is your gateway to the world of trading and investing. Whether you're starting out or scaling up, TFNN empowers traders and investors of all skill levels with top-notch investing systems, strategies, and techniques. It's time to protect and grow your money with insight you can trust. Join us live Monday through Friday during market hours for exclusive content that moves with the markets. At TFNN, we bring the trading floor to you. Our seasoned hosts are here to answer your calls and questions live on the air. Check out the Tiger's Den for just $1 and follow us on YouTube and become part of our vibrant community. And remember, at TFNN, we're so confident in the value we provide that we offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all new premium newsletter subscriptions and services. You have absolutely nothing to risk, so why wait? Tune in live to Tiger TV and transform your trading journey, because when you know better, you invest better. Join us and experience the difference today. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show. Still looking at Rich Tech Robotics. You're at 124 million market cap, negative PE of 1.79% right now at $1.66. This is supposed to be the company for introducing robot waiters, essentially. And they are working on something called Adam as well, which I think is designed to actually cook the food. There it is. This thing is wacky looking. Here, look at this. This is from their 10K. I don't know. Again, man, I just, it's instinctual, and I think some of the data out here kind of backs me up a little bit. I don't know. I mean, for things like this, like a fast food restaurant, like, okay, maybe that is there, right? I still think that the average American gets frustrated with kind of tech like this, and they would like to talk to a person. Anything. I know we can be cynical people sometimes, but at the end of the day, I do believe that's kind of what people like. Definitely for sit-down restaurants. Again, I think some of the allure of going out is getting waited on, and being able to ask people, talk to people about things. They say here, Adam's capable of making a wide variety of beverages, including coffee, craft cocktails, boba tea. Adam is currently serving customers at various venues across the country, including inside supermarkets, stadiums, hospitals, coffee shops across the country. All right, I mean, maybe something like stadiums and stuff like that is kind of, an angle they can approach. Since 2022, they rented out Adam's system for corporate and celebrity events. Clients include global tech firms, accounting firms, global alcoholic beverage companies. This will come up at the TFNN holiday party, no doubt. Tommy already told me. And the U.S. Celebrities. And then in 2024, they accomplished $857,000 in revenue leasing for Adam events. Yeah. One of the things I will say, though, is that I know that a lot of, this is obviously not the case like in Florida or anything, but in other places, there are issues getting workers for restaurants. So, you buy something like their maitre d', this can definitely work out, right? You're done. Hey, just put this up here and leave and get out. Maybe that helps. Do you really cut that many people? I'm not sure. I think this is just it's nascent for sure. Again, I think a lot of people might be oppositional towards this. It reminds me of the HitchBot. Remember that? It was a Canadian kind of weird little, it was really just a trash can they put stuff into. But it went all across Canada. People would hitchhike, would have these kind of saved comments or whatever, and it would take pictures of the people it was traveling with. And then it got to America. I think its first stop was Philly, and they completely destroyed it. I just think people, find it weird in America. I don't know. It's something I'm going to be following, at least, because I think a lot of the attention being put on robotics is not something, we should completely disregard. They're kind of telling you this is what they think is going to happen, and hey, they pump a bunch of money into it. At some certain point, maybe there is some adoption, unless it's an utter failure. Auto is interesting. I would like to see this get utilized more. It seems like it is pretty effectively. And Rockwell seems kind of attractive to me because of that. Does it have that massive growth potential that something like Rich Tech would when you're talking like a very small new company, pre-earnings, low market cap? Of course not. But, they have that history of being able to build this out and apply, automation into warehouses. So it's interesting. I'll be following that. I think that dump is kind of nuts. Might be a little bit of an overreaction on this. So we'll see if we can get some bid to the upside in Rockwell. That's something I'll take a closer look at as well. Let's talk a little bit, if I can find it, is the Beige Book. Well, first things first, I guess it wasn't the State of the Union address, it was just a reference to, an address to Congress. One of the things that with Trump last night, I watched the entire thing. Something I found very interesting is there was not really, unless I missed it, but I was listening to it pretty closely, not really a discussion on Bitcoin. Yeah, so I guess Lutnick, which is the secretary, he says that there is a massive plan to use Bitcoin in the reserve plan. So that did move it up quite a bit. However, when he was addressing Congress yesterday, and he brought up a lot of different things having to do with economics and kind of the markets in general, but he did not mention the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, which I thought was a little bit rough for the Bitcoin maxis for sure. I think they were probably hoping to get far more exposure with that. A lot of it was mainly just Trump kind of flexing on what's gone on in the past 100 days or whatever, and what he's planning on doing. I thought the ending speech he gave, I'm a big sucker for speeches and oration, I guess, in general. And I thought that was pretty interesting. Looks like we are going to Mars, he says. But yeah, he didn't talk about Bitcoin whatsoever, which I found kind of strange. Nor did he speak about the Sovereign Wealth Fund, which also was unfortunate. He did speak about some of the rare earth materials, a little bit of the deal with Ukraine, which I think is positive. One thing I saw that was kind of interesting is that it seems like Ukraine already has a deal. Someone posted this in the den. Ukraine already has a deal with the British for these rare earth materials, which I find kind of interesting. They don't know how that works with the Americans, because I'm sure Trump is not going to want to do joint venture with the Ukrainians and the British, let alone, I believe he probably will with the Russians. Talk about that. But you look at American rare earth miners. We've been talking about materials here, Materials Corporation. Check it out, up 12.87%. This is on news that the expansion is going to happen. Fascinating kind of company. It seems like they are trying to re-ramp up production. You have a nice gap up, right? Before we had this major sell-off. You're gapping up again today. Again, I think this is on Trump's plan to get into those natural resources. These rare earth materials is extraordinarily important going into the 21st century. If you don't do this, you will be in a world of hurt on an international scale. And this brings up kind of this discussion with Greenland. And there are some Greenlandic, one second, I'm gonna pull up Google Earth here. Greenlandic mineral companies that really haven't started tapping it all, but they have these rights. And, people talk about Greenland in a way of like just getting the mineral resources, but it's a lot deeper than that, Man, I'm really pushing this CPU to the max on this computer. This is potentially going to be one of the most important, this is in my opinion, one of the most important regions on Earth going into the 21st century and certainly the 22nd century. I mean, you're not doing this transatlantic kind of commerce anymore this way, right? I mean, your major powers, Canada, US, you have Russia here, Europe here. I mean, this is the region that happens, right? I mean, you have people die trying to figure out how to get to this area, with this opening up, with some of the ice melting, things getting warmer, I mean, Greenland becomes a dominant location on planet Earth. And I get, from a strategic perspective, why Trump keeps pushing the, hey, if you want to join us, you can. He said it again last night. It is seriously not just because of those resources. Those resources are super important. Not sure how accessible they are. This is the same kind of issue with Alaska. You know, it's kind of hard to, the infrastructure isn't there yet. It's kind of hard to get that stuff out of the ground and get it to mainland. But the real ticker with Greenland is its ability to be central in global commerce in the future, which I find kind of fascinating. You would never have thought about it, but it's the case. Folks, stay right there. I'll be right back.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading the markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
This year has already been a wild ride for the market. We started off heavily in the red, traversed back to all-time highs, and we now have a trade war looming. Trying to play this chop as an individual trader leads to death by 1,000 cuts. Where does this market go next? Should I add to this position or cut my losses? Where is the next opportunity? Tariffs? Trade wars? Analysis paralysis. Don't become a victim of this intense market. Instead, join Larry Pesavento over the 2nd and 4th Friday of every month for 3 hours of live trading. Larry has been through many markets just like this one, and the insight he provides is invaluable. The dates for this month are March 14th and 28th, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern Time. Get in here and let's start trading. TFNN, educating investors.
This portion of the Tom O'Brien Show is brought to you by Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the direction. Visit Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foresight Fund Services, LLC.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Jacob Shoup. You're watching the Tom O'Brien Show, talking a little bit about Materials Corporation. They're doing NdPr mining for single client in the U.S., I think they're the best positioned in the U.S. to provide rare earth materials to that country. And my mouse is currently not working. So give me a second here. These short sellers, man, they want to silence us out here. The short sellers and MP materials. I say here they're crucial enablers of modern technology, spanning transportation technology. Okay, this is what I find weird. The NdPr is fine because you're doing magnets basically, and that's most likely for, like motors and drones and everything along those lines. The rare earth for chips, which is important. What is this business about Trump wanting to end the CHIPS Act? I gotta pull up this new story because that really blew my mind. Because he is a spender, okay? I get concerned sometimes with what he does. I think we said this in November, that he will probably cancel Biden-era policies and then just do them again, and he'll be the one to pass them. But I think it's a little bit weird. If I type in chips, you're not going to get that. Yeah, I mean, it's $52 billion CHIPS Act subsidy program. Okay. It spurred more than $400 billion in investments from companies like Taiwan Semiconductor and Intel. And he says the CHIPS Act, or your CHIPS Act, is a horrible, horrible thing. He implored the U.S. Speaker Mike Johnson to get rid of legislation, use whatever is left over to reduce debt or any other reason. I don't know if I necessarily get that. It's a waste of government funds, arguing that tariffs would achieve the same outcome while filling coffers. Republicans have also indicated that they want to repeal what they see as social provisions of the CHIPS Act. It could also involve eliminating labor-friendly regulations. Okay, that's just Bloomberg talking. I feel like that, like, and maybe, and this is not me being political at all, because I'm never sharing my beliefs on that kind of stuff here. But some of this stuff really stretches my, grasp of how economics works, where it's constantly, it seems like tariffs is the answer to everything. And I don't know if that's the case. He has the reciprocal tariffs. Okay, maybe that's interesting. I don't know. The added tariffs on Canada and Mexico is a tough one. I do think that at some certain point this does increase costs for everyone. Of course, if you have an instance like India where, hey, we're going to slap a reciprocal tariff on you. Now, reciprocal tariff will be in the same industry, so we don't buy cars from India. But, slapping tariffs on other things they send to us. India seems like it did reduce their tariff on our electric vehicles. He's gonna, on that note as well, I think he's giving a big boost to car manufacturers in the U.S. I don't know if it works that way, but mainly that's because I don't know of a time where that's really been done and we've floated ourselves like that in modern times. So, as always, whatever's going to happen will be moderately interesting, to read about and see what happens. But let's see how the chip companies are doing right now. You have the composite up. NVIDIA up on this news on no volume at all. Okay, let's look at TSM. These guys, I think, can be their motors are the only ones who can produce these super advanced chips. This is a bounce on no volume at all. Let's look at Broadcom, which I think is probably the best positioned. A bounce on no volume at all. I don't think this looks good, to be honest. I don't think this looks good for the rest of the week in any capacity. You have Wolf Semiconductors as well, which I think is kind of still a little bit labored. You're off 2.56% in that. I don't know. I don't know if this works for these guys right now. Let's take a look at Intel too. They just got out of this lawsuit they had for dumping for this. This just triggered a lawsuit. Off 1.69%. This is another one I think, like, if you're in it, like, and you have some gains, like, I don't know. I won't give any advice, but seriously think about what the point of Intel is right now. And they don't. I mean, really, and without a CHIPS Act, I mean, how can they expect to get ahead of TSM in fabrication? I don't think they can. But who's to say? I don't know how Trump will allocate any potential profits that come to the government from tariffs. But to me, what this continues to do, which I think is the main takeaway from all of this, is add uncertainty into what goes on, And I think that adds instability. I mean, the only volume you've seen in the equities we've been looking at today are the volume to the downside. Anything on this counter trend bounce is on very low volume. And if you're, an acolyte of Tom, that's not a good thing. You have SMCI, this is, talk about like an L for anyone who really was holding after. Thank God we got out of those call options on profit. This is off 0.2% today, $39 at a PE of 17. I just don't think people are very excited. I think partly, what goes on is what we're going to see is a bunch of retail buying dip, and you're going to see big guys get the heck out of it. Because, what is improving here? What is improving here? Where does the uncertainty disappear? And it doesn't, and it continues on. And I don't think Trump did a good job of assuaging any of those fears yesterday. And you're going to continue to see kind of this, sector rotation. Yeah. Trying to look at anything. The Palantir balance is interesting, but again, not on a lot of volume at all. Anyways, let's move on a little bit. Well, we're going to stay in the same realm of talking about, kind of macro environmental things. This is the Beige Book. It was just released today for February. I think what you're seeing really is a slowdown. You're getting some contraction. I think any kind of growth you're seeing, whether this is going to be in wage, I think the numbers indicate this, whether that's going to be wage or, I can't even say people getting new jobs. Nobody's getting new jobs, and certainly not the high skilled ones. So you have overall, economic activity rose slightly mid-January. I'm sorry, do I want this one? No, I want this one. No, this is the one we want. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Unusual weather conditions, Labor markets, employment nudged slightly higher on balance, with 4 districts reporting a slight increase, 7 reporting no change, and 1 reporting a slight decline. Multiple districts cited job growth in healthcare and finance. Healthcare has always been going on. Finance is interesting because that's been an area that has not seen a lot of growth at all. In the past, you're really seeing healthcare increase, and you were seeing government position increase, okay? While employment declines reported in manufacturing and information technology, this is a big thing we've been talking about as well. A lot of CS grads can't get jobs. And honestly, I know it's not necessarily finance, but MBA grads aren't getting jobs either. About 25% of them aren't getting jobs. Availability improved for many sectors. Occasional reports of tight labor market in targeted sectors or occupations. I would assume these might be lower skilled jobs. But folks, stay right there. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for potential trading setups in the stock market, then Rocket Equities and Options Report is a newsletter you should try. Tommy O'Brien delivers options and equity trades when the markets present them, using a combination of fundamentals and technicals. Sign up for Rocket Equities and Options Report today with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. For all the details and to start your subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors. For traders who crave risk, Direxion's daily leveraged and inverse ETFs provide opportunities to magnify short-term perspectives with up to 3 times a daily leverage, utilize bull and bear funds from both sides of the trade, and trade through rapidly changing markets. These are highly leveraged ETFs with daily resetting designed for short-term trading, not long-term investing. Whether you're a bull or a bear, you choose the Direxion. For up-to-date pricing and performance, go to Direxion.com. Investing in the funds involves significant risk and should only be utilized by investors who understand the impact of leverage and actively monitor their portfolio. They are not designed to track the underlying index or security for more than a day. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risk, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at Direxion.com. Read carefully. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. a must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Tom O'Brien.
Welcome back, everybody. It's Jacob Shoup watching the Tom O'Brien Show. This is the Beige Book. I was just looking even deeper at MP's 10K report. They didn't do phenomenally in 2024, but I think this is ramping up a little bit. But the valuation does not freak me out at all, but because there's no doubt this market, look, you get even higher at 3.9. I was like, but this is at 4.2, nearly at 25.60. Is this too exuberant? I think if you want exposure to the rare earths, like this is kind of the only option you have. And not that that's a very solid reason to buy an equity in any capacity. And, it seems like they're just trying to ramp everything back up. But I don't know. When it was cheaper, like around this level, I was like, okay, that seems kind of interesting, right? Like you might get some at this price. I'm not sure. You're up 13.85% today. Again, not on a ton of volume. That could indicate not a lot of people are seeing it, but I think it also can indicate, you had revenues in 2024 of only $204 million. That's versus $253 million the year prior, and then $527. There's obviously some kind of reduction here in operations. And this is another thing I'll say as well, which is always the problem I've had with miners, and they say it here as well in their 10K, which is total revenues decreased for the year in 2024 compared to the prior year, primarily as a result of low market prices for rare earth products. Additionally, the ramp up in midstream operations impacted the comparison for rare earth concentrate revenue, as a significantly higher portion of Rio produced rare earth ore, of course, produced and refined, sold, and BPR oxide. Yeah. So, cost of sales seems like it increased significantly in 2024. And I'm really looking at 2022, which is the last time it made, and this is, relatively speaking, last time it made some good money. $240 million, still fine money, but you're talking about $4.18 billion company. Cost of sales drastically increased. So then they said increased COS for the year ended was driven by production costs associated with separated rare earth products sold in the current year, which are currently elevated as we continue to ramp up and optimize production of separated products towards normalized capacity. So this is what I'm talking about with they need to ramp everything up again. Notwithstanding per unit production costs of separated products are necessarily higher than those of rare earth concentrate due to additional processing required. So, we'll see. But again, this is the only company that has access to this kind of stuff. But when you're talking about these kind of commodities, when you build economies of scale, which is what's needed for industrial purposes, the cost of these materials goes much lower, of course, obviously they need to output more. They usually get a little bit cheaper. Now, if there's really just none of it, the cost can be whatever the heck it is because everybody needs it, right? But they're saying right here, you're having decrease in prices of these materials at a time where the use of these materials is about to start ramping up. So it was kind of interesting. I'm not as sold right now at this price on MP. But regardless, if you've been in it, you're holding it, we were talking about it, I mean, this is a nice movement to the upside of 13.76%. And again, I think it can get some of that irrational bump as well, it being the only North American miner of the stuff. Okay, let's ignore, or rather forgive my ADHD for a moment. Let's go back to the beige book here. Yet prices increased moderately in districts. Several districts reported an uptick in the pace of increase relative to the previous reporting period. Input price measures were generally greater. Okay, eggs is a thing. One of the things I want to say with the eggs, I think everyone here knows it, but in case there's anyone new listening, because even last night I was watching the address with some friends, and some of them were making remarks about the eggs, like why can't you reduce the egg prices? The egg prices don't have anything to do with Trump, nor do they have anything to do with Biden. It's weird when we politicize these kind of things. It was the same issue with gas, right? Back when Biden won, and all these stickers like, I did that at the gas pump, right? With Biden pointing it. It had nothing to do with Biden. It also didn't have anything to do with Trump either. I mean, you could argue that maybe Gulf Arabs like Trump more, and so they increased the prices of gas to screw with us. Whatever. I can't make a comment on that, obviously, because you don't know. But for the eggs, I mean, you have the avian flu going around, so you have to call these guys in a major way. And for whatever reason, unfortunately, it was just hitting really the egg-laying flocks. So that's not going to come down until the avian flu is essentially controlled, right? All of these essentially we're seeing activity downtick or essentially flat. I really do think that while this is not, horrible at all, and you're seeing a real slowdown in the economy, I do really think that for most people, the slowdown has already been here, and I think it's going to get worse for people. And I wonder if we need new ways of looking at some of this data, right? And I'm sure Tommy's been talking about it, and we've been speaking about it as well, but the people who are spending the most in this economy, right, and are making more money are the people at the top, right? And things will always be that way, but you got to look in like disparities between those classes, because if you don't, you get a large amount of people who are making no money at all struggling very heavily. I mean, you see that slowdown in January. That's because of an overspend in December and people using those buy now, pay later loans. I mean, I'm dang near positive that's what all that is. And I see that in friends that I have as well, right? I mean, people are tight on this kind of stuff. But you're saying, okay, well, I mean, wages still went up a little bit. Economic activity, I mean, price of goods is still going up. People are still kind of consuming a little bit. I think that is such a small portion of the economy, and I think if that's not addressed, this can get kind of weird. Of course, we did see that in 2022 as well, and it did kind of resolve itself a little bit. But I think we have different pressures right now that might not see that same kind of resolution. Anyway, it's kind of important to know. I think I add this into it, and why I think it's important is because I don't think the macro environment's getting better, and I think that ties in with kind of what we're talking about. I mean, we look at the SPY today or any of these things where you're getting these bump ups on not a ton of volume, to be real. I mean, this is okay volume, relatively speaking. I mean, we're not talking like in this kind of area, but this is a big bar too, So I don't know. I think we are kind of having a counter trend bounce right now. I don't think anything's improved. Nothing has changed from yesterday. So why go up? I mean, nothing that Trump said was necessarily, concrete regarding all this kind of stuff. Let's talk a little bit about Zscaler. Really, I want to talk more about some of these cybersecurity companies. It's very interesting. One of the things, this ties in as well with kind of I'm starting to think of, we've been talking about Ryan Mittal, Rolls-Royce a little bit, but mainly Ryan Mittal. I really like it. We were looking at things like at 880, trading up to 1200 right now. This is a fantastic move. The Germans are going to spend themselves out of this recession. You have van der Leyen come out and say that it is time for us to kind of wake up and start taking, the military responsibility into our hands. It's massive. Ryan Mittal is the guy that gets that kind of stuff. You're looking at Zscaler, which has earnings later today. Cybersecurity company CrowdStrike obviously got smacked a little bit. You have CTM doing its thing, all that's a little bit different. But you have Hegseth. This is one of the things I was worried about. You have, at least with this, you have Hegseth saying, hey, we're going to stop running cyber ops against Russia. And that is going to, of course, smack cybersecurity companies. Folks, you stay right there. We'll be right back. We're going to clear that up. Don't use that as a soundbite. We'll be right back.
Many trading newsletters attempt to focus on a narrow set of equities or commodities. While this works for some, it oftentimes misses many opportunities that possess huge gain potential. But how is an independent trader supposed to scan the entire market looking for these hidden opportunities? One simple answer: the opening call newsletter. Basil Chapman, developer of the Chapman Wave trading methodology, has been trading markets for longer than most trading influencers have been alive. And over that time, he has honed his methodology in order to accurately call movements in a wide range of equities, from semiconductors to uranium to key indices and so much more. Basil is old school, taking the time to educate the trader while also giving his insights into key indices, selective stocks, and more. Opening call subscribers also receive access to dozens of educational live streams that can be accessed at any time for your edification. All first-time subscribers receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. So ignore the pop trading influencers and start learning time-tested technical analysis.
In the world of trading, only a few names stand out like Larry Pesavento, a pro's pro with over 50 years of experience. Larry has seen it all. A former Chicago Mercantile Exchange member, Larry has authored 10 books and trained over 1,000 traders with his unmatched expertise. Introducing Fibonacci 24/7, Larry Pesavento's daily trading service that turns the complexity of markets into opportunities. Published every Sunday, receive a comprehensive report packed with detailed commentary, charts, and videos that illuminate the patterns shaping the markets, with updates throughout the week exclusively for subscribers. Whether through charts or videos, Larry's analysis is your roadmap to navigating the markets. You can sign up now at TFNN.com for just $97. And with all TFNN newsletters backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee, you have nothing to risk. For all the details, visit TFNN.com. You'll find Fibonacci 24/7 right under the newsletters tab.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. A must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN. Educating investors.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Man, this hour went by quickly, although it felt like it went by a little slowly, too. Main thing I want to talk about is, of course, one, I'm very much for the cessation of all tensions over in the East. Of course, we should talk about, though, some of the impacts that this might have. One of the things that I believe, it might be an interesting way to approach it, is one of the things I believe that will happen is that the Trump administration will try to, in some way, normalize relationships with Russia. And that was a very hard thing to hear as well. Especially with everything that's going on in Ukraine, and just kind of the history that we have. I wonder how something like that works out. Regardless, without evaluating that or anything, that might be a path forward for this administration. And I think they might start doing that. Of course, I've been kind of harping on this, what Putin said about 3 days before this whole event with Zelensky at the White House. When one of the journalists asked him, would you be okay with the Americans extracting those minerals in occupied Ukraine? And Putin was emphatic in his affirmation of it, which I found very interesting. There's been numerous cases throughout the times that I've been alive and a little bit conscious of it, where Putin has kind of asked to be involved in these things. and he was told no. I think that isolates people to some certain extent, and I don't know if that's the best way to resolve certain things. I think of like Iran as well, right? These are all very sticky topics, Regardless, I could see Trump trying to do that. And so, you have Hegseth now ordering a pause in U.S. cyber offensive against Russia. Does that stop? I mean, I'm sure we do that to our allies anyways now, and Russia is far from one of our allies. But this can totally affect things like, CTM or the perceived necessity to build out further cybersecurity infrastructure. CTM off 5.59%, quite a nice hold at the top, and they have not diluted it yet. Folks, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for Tommy O'Brien's Morning Market Kickoff. Take care.
Building